Christina Bellantoni is a senior reporter for Talking Points Memo. Thanks so much for joining us this morning, Christina.
Good morning.
We appreciate it. Good morning to you. President Obama has called this unprecedented, this deal, and yet it's not legally binding, as we just said. So what are the breakthroughs here and what's missing? Because a lot of people are saying there's a lot missing.
Yeah, well, certainly there is a big part that's missing from the United States is a deal on Capitol Hill with Congress. They have not agreed to any final legislation. And so that makes it tough for the other nations to be sure that the United States is going to live up with its part of the bargain. But a lot of people are saying that this is a lot of progress. It's a big step forward. It's really yet to be determined how many people are going to follow what they've agreed to.
Well, does the climate deal actually represent a victory for the president, or is it better to have a scaled back deal in place than no deal at all?
Well, certainly this is it's farther than what we had under President George W. Bush, and I think that's what you're going to hear the White House say. Again, it's all about what ends up happening if it ends up being a victory. I mean, I think the administration will certainly say that it's a big victory for them, and they put a lot of emphasis on these climate talks. They sent the entire Green Cabinet. They had people there all week, and President Obama obviously closed the summit, and they made a big deal out of the dramatic, him storming into meetings to make sure he could sit down with Chinese leaders. So I think that they're pretty pleased with the way it happened, but it's really yet to be determined.
All right, let's switch over to what's happening in the Senate right now. Senator Dick Durbin on the floor right now. We know what we can say is going to happen today is that Majority Leader Harry Reid is going to unveil this new revised version of the health care bill. So what can we expect to come out of the Senate today? Any real progress?
Well, the big deal is that they're going to be voting on this troops funding measure, which Republicans had kind of put a big slowdown on to slow down the health care process. So that will be a large move forward that we're going to see in the Senate. But really, you're going to see whether he has the 60 votes that he needs to kind of get this done. It's really a race against the clock, and it's a matter of if they can get this done and vote on it by Christmas Eve. And you had Vicki Kennedy, Senator Ted Kennedy's widow, who wrote an op-ed in the Washington Post that's appearing tomorrow, asking her colleagues, his former colleagues, to just back this, saying that this is what Senator Kennedy would have wanted. That may have a little bit of effect today on the Senate floor.
Well, that's the real problem. There's a lot of division between the Democrats. Some of them saying we should abandon this bill altogether. Others saying no, a bill is better than no bill. Are they going to be able to come to some sort of resolution on this?
Yeah, it's all a matter of whether the progressive senators are going to be able to accept a bill that is far less progressive than they'd want to see. And you've seen a lot of Democrats that want to see this pass emphasize the good things that are in it, the things that most people aren't aware that are in the bill that would, insure 30 million Americans, et cetera. But you've got, and the conservative Democrats don't want to see a lot of the other measures that the progressive Democrats do. So it's kind of a matter of, one group is going to call another group's bluff, and you've got MoveOn.org saying that the Senate bill should be defeated. It's definitely complicated. So it's a matter of bringing together the divergent views in that caucus to see if they can reach that 60.
All right. Well, I don't have to tell you, the other big story we're covering today is the weather. Obviously, that's having an impact on what's happening there in D.C. How is it for you to actually travel there in D.C.? And do you think it's going to impact what's going on in the Senate today?
Well, the roads, fortunately, there's not many people on the roads, so it was very slow going getting here to the studio, but it happened and it worked out. You had overnight, they brought in cots for senators to sleep in.
Wow.
And Chuck Grassley, a Republican from Iowa, actually tweeted last night that he was spending the night in his office because he did not want to miss a vote. He says he has very good attendance records in the Senate, so he was not going to be missing anything, so he slept there. And I think you're going to see members make a lot of jokes about the snow on the Senate floor today. That'll make things, maybe a little bit more lively than they normally are. But for the most part, they have ways to get there. It'll take everybody a bit longer. Metro's shut down, but after that, they'll be there.
So this could be a good thing. They could be stuck there and be forced to actually come to some sort of resolution on this.
That is definitely one way to look at it, yes.
All right, Christina Bellantoni, thanks so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
Tomorrow, I'll meet the